This is Brian Edwards with Jalopy Music, and today we're making a song. It's 5:30 a.m. in Waco, Texas. Let's get started. Okay, I've basically set up some drums, some rhythm here. Basically a advanced click track. So let's see, let's start out here. Bitwig, we have the click going. We have groove enabled. Metronome here is enabled. The groove I have on the 1/8 instead of the 1/16. The 1/8 basically is my hi-hat. And so here you play ticks. You can hear that. I'm not going to use the play ticks, I've got actual hat. But for right now, I'm going to use the click mostly on while I play different instruments. But I also have a lot of more options here to kind of get me a little more inspired, kind of give it more structure. I think, a lot of this will actually make it into the song. I didn't spend too much on, sounds. I kind of know some bass sounds that I like and will work for me. So let's kind of layer this on here. So the first thing is I have a drum sequencer and kind of like my favorite, Sugarbytes Drum Computer. And important things here, if you go to settings, not too important with my setup right now, but for the audio, there's this little button here that sends it out on different channels. So you can isolate the sounds. This auto drum fill is really wonderful. You can kind of see down here where I have this drum machine. So drum computer sends out audio, and it also sends out MIDI. Right now on this track, to kind of tame it down, right, to use it for kind of inspiring and locking in as I play instruments. I just have this Bitwig drum machine set up with these 8 wood blocks. Give us a nice crisp. You can hear the click, the wood blocks. The simple 8 here, mapping, you can see here at 36, which is C1 in Bitwig. I just have it stacked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so it looks nice in the drum machine. You can see that with the drum computer, at least on this beat, I just picked this preset Arabian. It's just something I know I've liked, but definitely a good inspiration to try different beats. And you can kind of see with this auto fill that it's using these C1, C#1, and then these 2 above it right here. And it has kind of on the right side here, these 4 will come in on the fills. I think with Auto 1, each one's different, but it's like every 8 measures, the 8th measure, or maybe some of the settings at 16th measure will give a little fill. And it's not that same fill every time. This thing is really wonderful. I'm sure there's others out there, but I definitely am in love with this thing. Sugarbytes Drum Computer. So we got the wood blocks happening here. Nice simple click. I'll disable this drum machine and get ready for the full power of the drum computer, which is a drum synthesizer. So it's not samples. There might be some samples in it, but primarily I see the resynth and sampler. But primarily it is this synthesizer of drum sounds, and with incredible, you can just go through 2 individual drums random on the left here, or randomize the whole thing with that kit. It's really nice. And even in that genre, I found that you can kind of layer, and a lot of times make a kit within the drum computer that is synthesized, it's electronic, but get one that's kind of tamed down, I can actually use it we're going to use these wood blocks, because you can tell that would be something to, try to play over. There's a lot going on. And then beyond that, kind of just have myself set up well. I have, like an isolated kick here, because yeah, sure, well, it's not even a kick sound, right? It's wood block sound. You could isolate within the drum machine, solo and mute. But you can hear here, we have just a kick, and we have the click, the Bitwig metronome. Up at the top, I've set the global key to B flat major. That can come in really handy with note effects, like transpose, multi-note, which you can make chords. That all now in Bitwig 6 is aware of the global key and scale. So B flat major, 84 beats per minute. It's just kind of like taste, like what I kind of am seeing coming up. Something I've used in the past, obviously a little bit slower type song, but we'll see. So we have the isolated kick. We also can layer in a snare just by muting a track, which is nice versus diving in onto a single track with the drum machine. You can obviously bring in you can hear the wood blocks come in. And then this is basically I have two closed hats, right? This is the main thing I think of, is the hat, using the hat kind of as the timing, the click. This hat is a little fancier, right? They've got these, I'm opening up on these two, I guess it would be these two right here in Drum Computer, E1 and F1. So I've got a little nice hat beat going on there. Let me mute this out. All right, so that's just the click from Bitwig. And this is my closed 2. And so closed 2, get rid of Drum Computer. And I just have the simplest Bitwig note grid, which you can see I've got every 8th note. You can see the visualization over here, this logic out, phase out. So we're hitting, it's enable shuffle, so it's aware of the Bitwig shuffle. And you can hear it here. You can hear that shuffle. Turn off shuffle. There it is, straight up. So that with the click and that just that hi-hat. And then maybe this has the hats in it. So if I mute those two hats, right? Oh, oops, let me mute all this. Okay. So let me solo that. So right here we have groove enabled, the Bitwig metronome, the click. We have a couple wood blocks on the kick and snare coming from this beat from the drum sequencer. I'll demo this. Let's see here. So we'll get the sounds back. There's a little icon here. Multi-out chain selector. This guy right here, quick setup. This is audio on different channels, which hooks up Bitwig here. But again, I'm blocking the audio out with this drum machine on the track. And I just have the kick and snare wood blocks going here. And we have this steady hi-hat. And this is probably, you know, a pretty good thing to play along to, right? I would say the only thing I could think of is dropping a kick in there. And maybe one more thing I might really like would be, let's see here, let's call this kick 2. And, you know, instead of using the note grid, I'll just use the clip launcher because I want to put velocity on the 1. I'm thinking, you know, of all that other stuff, I'm like, I really want to hear the 1. I mean, the metronome, the click track, I have trouble with it because it's like, yes, the 1 is emphasized, but it's such a high pitch that it really kind of, my ear doesn't hear it as like a good, strong 1 beat. So here we go. We've got the clip launcher, and let me just do this. Show the velocity bars here for these other 3, and let's just drop those kind of way down, really, because we've got a lot going on here. So the main thing is just to hit. Oh, whoops, I got the wrong sound. Okay, let's see here. All right. What is that? Okay, let's turn off that. There we go. So we have a hat. Let's get a kick going. I think this will be a fine sound. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let me move that up. Let's call this kick 1. So now, yeah. With the Bitwig metronome, we've got this kick 2, which is just 4 on the floor, with an emphasis on the 1. Yeah, I think that will really help me. And then just a straight up beat here. I might want to, you know, kind of bring in, really the only thing I have from the drum computer here is these 2 wood blocks. So I'm kind of on the low end here, where this is like a very simple drum beat to play over. And it get, you know, with the groove, gives me a little bit of flair here. It's not just a straight click, and it has a little bit of this drum computer beat with the kick and the snare. So it's not quite like a boom, 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 it has a little something going on there. But I think this is pretty optimal for playing over, where it's not too stiff, not too generic, but not too busy. All right, moving on. All right, one quick thing on the drums I wanted to show. Yes, let's see here. Yes. Yeah, so this is the MIDI channel, instrument channel, which is then used to record the audio. And so Okay, so I've added some bass, and in that I've chosen a chord progression. I'm in B flat major. I basically choose B flat major. You know, initially it was based on my vocals. At some point, there's a place in Chicago called the Folk Music Academy or something like that, Old Town Music Academy or something. And during COVID, they did all their stuff online with Zoom, and in general, Zoom kind of sucks for any sort of music stuff, right? Everybody has different audio and there's delay. It's terrible. But for me, down in, I think at the time I was living in Austin, now I'm in Waco, Texas. And so COVID and these online classes gave me this incredible, resource. So I signed up for a ton of classes. And I'd heard about it from Stephen Colbert. And Stephen Colbert is kind of like a trained folk musician and vocalist, I believe. And he had John Prine on his show, and he mentioned that they had both, gone to some classes at this place in Chicago. So I kind of knew it in my head, and I looked them up, and took advantage of that. Anyways, where was I going with that? Vocals, right? So you can hear I kind of have a baritone voice. It doesn't really get down too bassy, but if you're a recording artist, if you want to be a star, don't have a baritone voice because it's really hard to mix. Kind of my vocal, my sweet notes are kind of like right on the bassiest notes of the sixth string of a guitar. And so the G and the B flat are really, that range right there. G, I guess G, G sharp, A sharp, right? That's my sweet spot. I get a little lower than G, and it starts to kind of, I can get close to the mic, and with a mic I can kind of do it, but if I'm live, even with like a, out and about with a microphone even, and definitely if I'm singing without a microphone, it loses kind of that gusto, right? It's like getting too low, loses the power. So originally I got to work with a incredible instructor, right? And it's got some feedback. And one of the things was kind of mapping out, the idea from him, maybe a little help from him, but really, kind of sitting down and, mapping out and figuring out what notes I'm singing and where my range is. I kind of landed on B flat major. Now, when I write folk songs, lyrics, something comes to me and I can kind of find the chord progression on acoustic guitar, B flat, I put the capo on 3, play open chords, and that's just where I'm comfortable, and I can quickly kind of riff on an idea, get from vocals in my head, a vocal melody, and then just some backing chords, kind of find the chords real fast through quick experimentation. So B flat major, and that kind of, F, the mode, whatever mode it's called, Lydian or Mixolydian, with that F major, the 5th, where things are kind of going more towards the F. The F is more emphasized. Certainly in my wheelhouse, G minor, another mode of B flat major, but basically, the bag of notes I'm working with, right? B flat major. And then started with my vocals, but now it's what I'm most comfortable with guitar wise. I just basically now I'm practicing electric guitar. And so I'm there's so many variables. I'm going to kind of stick with B flat here, right? I want to play in different keys, right, as a guitarist, but right now it's just simplify that. And then in the DAW, everything, I just know, B flat, F, E flat, G minor, right? And so also I'm going with, I've added bass here, and in that I've chosen a chord progression, and the classic pop chord progression, right, is the 1, 5, 6, 4. And so that's another thing where I kind of feel like with music and You get on the computer, the DAW, the instruments, vocals, lyrics. There's so much going on at any given time. I feel like I have to kind of like narrow something down, right? So, maybe I'm working on mixing, but I want to do that in the context of a song. So everything else gets simplified. It gets to the thing that I'm most comfortable with. And then maybe I'm adding something in that makes mixing hard, or mixing something I haven't done before. But all those other variables, try to pinch those down. So in this song, I'm going to go with a single chord progression. Obviously, I'd say, certainly most songs change their chord progression, but it's not required, right? The one that comes to mind, it's a gorgeous song, right? And it uses one chord progression throughout. The vocal melody changes, the instrumentation changes, kind of the loudness, just kind of like more going on, right? So I think it has kind of like three parts that build. It's a stripped down kind of folk song, but Noah Kahn, Stick Season. Throughout, it is 1, 5, 6, 4. And it's kind of a great example because it's, you wouldn't say it's a pop song, right? Because of instrumentation. And, if you sit through and listen to his album containing that song, there's kind of like I would say that's why that was the hit, right? That's why it resonates with people, is that it's the most poppy, right? But it doesn't, you probably wouldn't listen to that and think, oh, he's a pop, he's defying his genre, he's going pop now or something like that, So, certainly chord progression introduces a feel. But yeah, I feel like, given this session, trying to get through it, the purpose is really to record it, kind of show off all the little nuances and tricks I go through, how I kind of organize it. It's good to have kind of a stable foundation, right? And simplify the song where I'll bring in different instruments and stuff. Here I've got an idea of like 3 different bass lines, so they're all the same chord progression, but 3 different bass lines in both rhythm and kind of the order of notes being played. Even bass sounds, I've got a couple of bass sounds to layer in. So yeah, I'll hit play here. So that's one. That's all of them. They aren't really intended to all be played at the same time. Here's my second one. And I would say like this with my vocals, right? One thing I'm going to try to do is the bass is low, kind of like trying to get more in like sub-bass territory. Try to keep that, let's see, E2. E2 would be a standard tuning guitar. And E1, you're talking about the MIDI notes and the octaves. The numbering's a little different, but in Bitwig. And E1 would be way lower than my voice. So this virtual instrument I've got going here, let's see here. Interesting. Bass 1, note fill. Okay. So this virtual instrument I have going on here is the Scarby Rickenbacker bass, and it is made by Native Instruments. Yeah, it's solid. It's my go-to electric bass. You can see here on the preset that I've selected dub bass. All right. You can see here on the preset that I've selected dub bass. And that is kind of like, so it has like pure DI. You can see neck pure DI. That's just it's actually set on dub bass. So pure neck or bridge DI would be very stripped down. Dub bass is pretty stripped down. It's kind of a little more rich. I believe dub is a genre kind of associated with reggae. So, reggae, kind of like, I I would say like no reverb, kind of like angular, kind of muted notes a lot, kind of, the very percussive, kind of like all the instruments are the bass and the guitar and everything is quite percussive and sharp and precise. So basically, this is, this kind of genre I'm going for. The bass is, there's fantastic bassist out there. It's an incredible skill. I do care about the tone, like kind of like what I'm saying with choosing this dub bass, which kind of but really it's there for, the kick drum and my bass is really to fill the low end really with some sound. This is melodic, but, I'm not going for a bass solo, right? It's mostly there to make the overall track sound full with that low end. That just doesn't feel like, there's something missing, right? I will say my reference track, right? One of my main go-to reference track, which when I say reference track, I don't mean like emulating the music, but when I go to master and actually using the tool, right? Ozone 11 is the tool I use to master. And in there, you actually have functionality, two different functionalities of a master or of a reference track. And my go-to reference track, and including this song, I would say in my head, is the sound of Big Thief, and it's called Shark Smile. And that one just kind of nails it for me. I would say modern folk rock, so there's kind of like great sounds from the 70s, 80s, 90s that I love. But, technology, technique, and everything, even though there are kind of a throwback, but there's just something that you can hear, things record, even if something's remastered, right? Yes, there's like vinyl and gorgeous and saturation, old recordings, wonderful, but yeah, there's just a oomph, right? If you hear a recording probably since 2015, last 10 years, there's just a new sound, full, rich, sort of thing going on, a little bit of pop to it. And so, yeah, Ozone reference track. And really, I guess my point is, when I started using that reference track, I really noticed that I was downplaying the bass. I needed to bring up, looking at the EQ, referencing, I need to bring up that bass and sub bass. So I think in headphones, I would hear it and it's, I would kind of be listening for the bass and I was like, oh yeah, the bass is there. But especially when you get out in your car, phone speakers, stuff like that, you got to have some girth down there, some volume, more than I, kind of naturally would shoot for. I really have to use the visual to kind of be like, yeah, go, push it a little bit. And so yeah, I think that's a pretty good. Let me click through and show you what I've done here. One thing is I group the drums. Bitwig, most DAWs have something like this. There's kind of the concept of return tracks. I think Bitwig calls them effects tracks. I typically do not use them. I use groups in favor of effects tracks or send and return tracks. So groups give you both organization, like you can see here, I can collapse it, but also give you a audio effects channel here at the bottom that applies to everything, so that it just turn out to be more flexible, sort of a thing. In fact, I can probably just collapse that now that I'm not working on it. So let's see here, the bass group. If I look at this bass one and solo it, that's coming through pretty good, but I'll just solo it. Okay, so first, I showed you this Native Instruments instrument, but this is definitely, now I'm making my own plugins, but this is just a great plugin. It's called the Pilot Plugins. It's by a company called Mixed in Key. They first first came out with Captain plugins and then Pilot plugins. Similar concept where you have kind of these instrument specific, this one being the bass, so you have like 4 chords, arpeggiation, melody, and bass. And so they sit on different tracks, but they talk to each other, so they're all in the same chord progression. Basically, the Pilot upgrade, right, was this nice streamlined UI, right? Very kind of intuitive controls, regenerate, these different types of, preset kind of like sounds. Yeah, I mean, very fast, compared to the drums. I noticed like getting this bass up and going was just super simple, easy. And again, kind of like the Sugarbytes Drum Computer, which I use as a drum sequencer and sometimes layer in the sounds, but typically I want the MIDI out, right? Same with Pilot. The sounds, it has its own sounds. Let's see here if I can just... There you go. So it does have sound, and then its sounds are great. Lots of different choices there. Let's see here. Alright, so now I'm back on the native instruments. Electric bass guitar. And so, let me show you this. I've chosen walking bass and hit regenerate a few times to get something that's like, like I said, I'm basically filling the low end. But here we go. So this chord part here, like I said before, 1-5-4 or 1-5-6-4, which in B flat, F, G minor, E flat. And so if I use, when I drop in, I'll probably use chords at least, to kind of just give me a bass that I can play guitar over. Bass, B-A-S-E bass. This is B-A-S-S bass, but yeah, I'll probably use the chords plugin and that will just auto sync. Yeah, it's, beautiful software. And so I've got it dialed in here. It's playing this bass track. Let's see, what did I do with it? Okay, so first off, transpose down 1 octave. That's what I'm talking about. And actually, Pilot bass does have octave usually. Yeah, it has an octave control, so I could use that. I kind of like using the Bitwig device because when I have the UI closed on the Pilot bass, I can just quickly see what I'm doing here. Then I have this FX layer. It's like Command G group, but it's called a layer. There's selector, there's layer, there's others. Oh, chain is definitely useful. There's notes versus audio. So a note layer or a note selector, both of them group multiple, but the layer just plays them both at the same time. The selector, you can go through different ways of selecting one chain at a time, both manual and automated. One great thing is you can add a modulation. This is obviously a layer, but on a selector, add LFO steps, a step sequencer, modulation, and go through them. There's also, I kind of confused audio and note, but like in an audio selector, no, I guess it's, well, let's see, whatever. One of those two, you have some modes where it's choosing different voices, right? And the reason why I'm confused, because even on the audio side, one of the great things about Bitwig is you have your notes, your MIDI notes are coming through the instrument, and audio effects with like envelope, ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, release. So that envelope kind of stuff, it knows when a MIDI note is coming in. And then you have what's considered voices. So basically, notes, polyphony, versus like monophony. Multiple voices coming through, and so basically, harmony. You have 3 notes playing at the same time, a chord, and those will get assigned voices, and so you can have stuff like as those are coming pieces are getting assigned. You have different effects chains, stuff like that. So it's just, I mean, talk about beautiful software. Bitwig is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful software. Anyways, back, what the heck was I doing here with this bass? Okay, so I want to get it down in the sub range, dropped it down an octave, but, you know, notice this instrument. All right, UI, there we go. You can see on the keyboard here, the pink are key switches, so you can change the way the instrument is played. So the idea is with a MIDI keyboard, you kind of use left hand and right hand and control the settings of the instrument as well as the notes being played. But I basically don't want that, right? I want this B0. So right before the device, this is just out of habit, because otherwise you'll send MIDI notes that are key switches on accident, and the whole thing will get screwed up, you know? So I have this guard, which is a note filter from B0 to D#4, which is the blue notes, which is basically it's interpreting the MIDI note as a musical note to play on the bass guitar. So I have this, you know, filtered down. So the next step that I did was, you know, I just had these notes coming through. I dropped them an octave, and what ends up happening is, I think it was just one note, right? But based on whatever melody's playing, some of the notes, if you drop it down like that, will drop off and get filtered. So this layer, the purpose of it, you can see here, the top layer is B0, really up to anything, even though this one will filter it. And this just passes through. So it's like, okay, this note comes in from pilot bass. It will play on the instrument, so just let it go through. And the second layer is for things that are too low. They come in, and it basically goes from anywhere to A#0. Now this trick is gonna work for one octave, and basically I know that there's no notes that are 2 octaves down. But you could layer this down and keep, you know, bump up the second octave up 2 octaves and stuff like that. The trick could be, you know, applied in multiple layers. But basically I'm taking, you know, anything from 1 octave down and bumping that an octave up, right? So we have these really low notes and get those up. And so that does manipulate the melody, the note, you know, the lettered note, like if it's playing a B flat or something like that, it's going to play a B flat 1 octave up, you know, so I guess, you know, the bass line's going to make sense. But you know, if you listen to the two, right, it's going to feel different. And you can tell just listening to this, yeah, it's fine. Then I have this humanize, which I kind of covered with drums, and bass kind of fits along with drums, right? Like if I'm doing a virtual instrument that's like a banjo, right? Like I don't want it to sound, you know, unless I'm trying to do something typically, right? I don't want it to sound mechanical at all. So I would really like lay, you know, one great trick, right, is to have 3 banjos stacked, each with like a humanize with a chance anywhere, you know, 40% to 80%. And so they're all kind of dropping in. There's also like time shift, you know, you can feed it in with different notes, you know, with pilot ARP and pilot melody. A lot of those presets, you'll have something called an offset, right? So you just turn a knob and they're coming in like a 16th note later. Yeah, there's great stuff you can do. But let's get back. Bass. The bass. What am I doing here? So on the bass, like the drums, I have chance at 100%, right? I don't really want to drop bass notes. I could do something like that where I have them layered and they're all at like 80%. There's 3 of them, so that it will hit most notes and it, you know, give you some texture and stuff. But I'm really going for the sub frequency range. Those sorts of nuances are just not going to really come out in this mix, right? So what I did here with Humanize on all of these is mostly timing, and I cranked it way down, because I wanted the bass to be tight, but I gave it a little 3 milliseconds. bass might be sending timing. I don't think so. This is low enough that it's not going to, and I can hear it, so it's not a problem. I don't think Pilot Bass is varying the time. I think it's right on. So yeah, so I have these 3 bass parts to kind of mix it up. It's the same chord progression throughout the song, filling the low frequencies. I think that's, pretty well covers it. The other bass 2 and 3 are set up the same way. I'll show you, I do have a different sound here. So, just a different sound preset, a little bit more in here, it's like spread, a little more jangly. And then what I ended up doing on bass 3, kind of thinking like chorus, and I've just layered the dub and that more jangly sound on top of each other. So they're playing bass 1, 2, and 3 are the same chord progression, but different bass lines, different melodies. Bass 3 is one melody, right? One bass line. Synth the 2 instruments with different settings. And I think each one is, chance is still up. So I could drop a chance on like maybe one of them, Let's do that, why not? So I'm just going to change the more jangly one to 87%. I have it soloed. So you can kind of hear it, right? The dub is always there. The solid one, the jangly one misses some notes. But alright, there's my bass line. I'll be back. Okay, so we had the drums and the bass, and now we're trying to get chords, kind of a pad type sound. Basically, when I'm, let's say acoustic guitar, my first kind of real instrument thing, I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing, right? So the bass gives us some chord progression, but this will give us nice, solid, like we are playing this chord, right? All 3 notes at once, kind of a thing. Keep us in line. Know what part I'm on and stuff like that. Okay, so a couple other fill-ins before we get into the this pad, chords. Let's see here. One thing I did, bass group, put in this dynamics device, sidechained to the main kick. The main kick coming out of DC is the drum computer, so the main interesting kick. And so let's see here. Let's get kick 1 DC. Let's take that out, the new stuff, and here we go. So now we can kind of hear it. It's very subtle, right? And you really want it to be subtle, but the main thing you want is that kick transient, right? That attack part of the kick. You don't want it to be covered up by the more mushy bass. And it depends on genre, right? Basically, really, I can barely hear the difference. A little bit more of the bass covering it up. And just kind of coming through a little bit more of that the kick. With other genres, you might make this, kind of more pumping, right? So what I do here, I just get the standard dynamics device. From the bass settings, the ratio has to go up because the ratio is like 1, and so it's doing nothing. The threshold usually has to go down. It depends on the signal, but I find every time I'm pulling it down a little bit from the default. The attack and release, because I want basically that kick to come in, and I want the attack, I want the bass to duck very fast. Again, kind of like with the drum gate, if you go too aggressive, it will kind of click and chop too much. But crank a little bit down on the attack, a good amount on the release. The release is when it senses that volume from the side-chained kick, how fast does it kind of come back with the bass in full volume. So for this application, you want both of those to be pretty short, but not making it click or sound digital or something like that. All right, so now, also I dialed in the kick sound. And I think the main thing I did add here, I'll click on this to show, okay, it's kind of hidden over here. Let's see, I got velocity. Okay, so I have the velocity curve, so I just toned down really mainly the high end of velocity because it seemed too boomy. then I did decide I didn't really like the kick sound, so I found two and I layered them. One is playing all the time with whatever velocity is coming in from Drum Computer. One has a little bit of a chance on it, so just, they're going to be layered, and so make the kick sound a little bit different. The timing is a little bit off, the velocity is off just a little bit, just kind of dialing in that kick sound. I kind of came up with a theory. This doesn't hurt anything. I kind of heard like a little bit of like a stutter on, I think it was on the kick, but I decided to go through from Drum Computer, put this note length on it for 1/8 note. So those notes aren't too short, like a stab and, just screwing up the virtual instrument. So I did that everywhere. Let's see here, where's another one? That's not it. Yeah, so on the snare, 216. Here we go, in the hat. So everything has that on it now, just to try to keep it behaving nicely in case Drum Computer, the sequencer, is setting these really short notes. Then, yeah, should be done. Okay, so now the chords, right? And so with the chords, the first thing we look at is we have this pilot chords. And again, I'm not using the sound. It's synced up to the bass, so it just pops up with our chord progression, 1, 5, 6, 4. Here, the main thing, this chords one is very plain, right? You just got these right here, like it's full bar, held chords. You can increase or decrease complexity, just make basically power chords or stacked or piano style Japan chords. But very basic, you have to get your rhythm somewhere else or use it as a pad. And density, right? This is the density control. And basically that means like this is whole notes or single bar, bell. You crank the density up, which I have done with these tracks. My idea is kind of layer for the parts of the song. I believe all these will stack and layer well. And the layers go whole note, and it has a half note where it plays the same chord, which has a transient hit in the middle of the bar. And then another one that's quarter note, so we're feeling like that's going to stack up nicely as we kind of lead into the chords. So yeah, so I'm not using the sound, I'm using the MIDI. It's pretty plain, it's hooked up to the bass one. It's nice, it's really fast, easy controls. We're at just before 9 a.m. now. Rid of that. Alright, so this track is muted. It has my plug-in, this Mod Lobster, and what I did is I just recorded just to have audio, just in case if I budget and screw up the setting on Pilot or Mod Lobster or anything. If I change the setting, I have this locked in. It's recorded the way I wanted it. And so I'm going to leave this track around, just leave it muted in case I wanted to tweak the sound. Mod Lobster. So I create VST plugins. I have a handful of them for sale on my website. It's jalopy.music. And one of them is Mod Lobster. Very, very proud of Mod Lobster. I kind of, given my genre and stuff, I kind of never expected to make a synthesizer plugin. But this thing's kind of great. This Mod Lobster takes full variety of the history of synthesizers, chops each one of those, specific kind of, there's like FM synth, subtractive synth, stuff like that, right? And they all have kind of like subtractive, kind of tells you about maybe like a couple of modules and it's a general thing. Like you have a waveform and then you have a filter to take away from it and modulation stuff. You're taking away from that original sine wave or whatever. But this is a little more specific, so it's like modeling, kind of reverse engineering, re-engineering all those technologies that kind of came out across 70s, 80s, 90s, even like wavetable synth, right, is more recent. And then it takes kind of like individual, or a class and kind of chops it up into these stages. And it certainly has the original configuration, but it also makes these franken-synths, right, where it's chopping up these stages. So it gets to 1 million curated sounds. So all these sounds are different, differentiated from each other. much more likely to get something that's not an organ, right? It should kind of give you organ sounds, but also different stuff. So that's kind of the first level. You have the search box and chaos. And so the idea is you go into this, there's a million sounds, right? You'll never listen to them all. But you have a way to kind of, it's not really deterministic, right? You want to kind of just wade through this huge space of sounds. So instead of, the concept is instead of tweaking knobs on, which, let's say, which waveform, your filter settings, your modulation, stuff like that, instead of going through each stage and tweaking parameters, it's kind of like transforming it into this search problem instead of a parameter setting problem. Like we've already set all the parameters a million times, have these underlying devices. So so search for organ, chaos, and then you can kind of step through not only this chaotic random search space, obviously it's set up so you can quickly go down and hear with your ear what you want to hear. You're just pumping in MIDI and you can hear it, you play on your MIDI keyboard or something like pilot chords. And then once you find a sound, you click similar, double click it, and you get a display with the sound you liked at the top, and then similar sounds. You very quickly kind of dial it in. So yes, very exciting. It is Mod Lobster. It is a synthesizer plugin that turns it into this search problem, this exploration problem of similar sounds in a huge 1 million sound space. And on sale, website Jalopy.music. I think that's everything. And so let's see here. If I solo in. Alright, so here we go. So this is Mod Lobster. And this one I have Uncanny Valley. So here, roll right into this sales pitch, right? So let's get this glass organ FM synthesizer, right? I decided to go with the organs on this track to try to, kind of keep it feel like a little more natural, less electronic music. And so Uncanny Valley, you can see over here to the right of Mod Lobster, another plugin from Jalopy Music, my company, on sale, jalopy.music website. And so Mod Lobster is a virtual instrument, send in MIDI, get audio out, and synthesizes, it generates sound. Uncanny Valley is an audio effect, so it's taking the sound out of anywhere, any sort of sound you have, but in this case, Mod Lobster is providing the sound, and Uncanny Valley is affecting it, right? It's changing it. And so what Uncanny Valley does is it emulates a Mellotron or similar devices. There's these devices from the 60s and 70s, piano keyboard kind of a thing, and it had recorded tape of like a flute and a couple cello, a couple other instruments, maybe violin, whatever. But it had so you hit keys on the keyboard and you hear flute or cello, whatever your setting is. But it had this texture to it, right? Because of the mechanical operation, the fact that it was these 8-second strips of tape, it had to rewind. And so all of that is captured in Uncanny Valley. So first, let me do a sound demo. You can hear the clean, glass organ FM real fast. I did bring up Insight here, which is Insight is iZotope, who got bought, I think, by Native Instruments. And the main thing I wanted to bring up here, right, is the sound field. I'm pointing on the finger. Sound field, which is really helpful to me because I was like, I want to spread the stereo field on these pads, right? And Mod Lobster's nice, it actually has it spread, so some sounds would be dead center. I'll just go ahead and show you on the screen. One of my favorites is, what I'll do is I'll show you with the bass, because the bass is dead center here. We have this one bass here, and you can see in the sound field, dead center. So, well, I think actually the other bass, anyways, it doesn't matter. I think the other bass is spread. So typically bass is dead center, kick drum and bass are dead center and vocals are dead center. But you can always break rules, right? But that's kind of the typical, like if you're having trouble getting like feels like a radio mix or a pop mix, and you don't have your bass center. That try doing your bass center, but it's not a tried and true rule. But in this case, bass is dead center, and one of my favorite Bitwig devices is Panorama Float, which is actually, it's not actually panning. It is a subtle flanger with a mix knob all the way up that creates an interesting panning effect, right? So what I notice is it takes, you can see right here, sorry, I'll stop pointing my finger, sound field, we've got, okay, much more interesting, right? You also hear it kind of sits back, so although, unless I typically don't use this on bass, but stuff like banjo, which is very bright and you're trying to just tame it down, right? So if you have any sound like that, even like a pad, like let's say you have a piano and it's kind of wanting to be up front and you want it to kind of spread without having to, because like one thing would be you could put it on 2 tracks, pan it both ways, time shift it, do different things to kind of settle it down in the back, maybe reverb, some stuff like that. But I just find that Panorama Float, that situation, drop that sucker on there. And so you can see in the sound field now, we've got this nice wide, and you can kind of hear it's kind of an outside the club feel, right? There's like the music going on inside and you're in the alley, out in the back. And so, yeah, it kind of has that feel to it. So it just tones things down. Now in this track so far, I don't really have a use for it. Maybe I'll bring in banjo later, So I'm just going to delete that. I'm going to leave the bass just mono, bam, right down the middle. And let's see here. All of the mod lobsters are going. And now I've got it on this one, and I'm showing off Uncanny Valley for sale on our website, jalopy.music. There you go. It's beautiful Mellotron sound, right? Mellow is a great way to classify it. But here you have, presets. You have this one, man. It gets down to the nitty gritty of everything you would ever want to tweak on a Mellotron. In fact, even if you really want it, you can emulate the strip, right? So the strip would play. So you're playing, and it have to go back and reset, right? So you have this counter counting up to this imaginary tape strip, and it hits, boom, comes back down and restarts playing, right? And it's skipping over. Now I'm going to go without. It kind of sounds. I mean, I think it can be. Well, I think it can be used, but I want the effect to just be steady. So there's a strip active button, but gosh, all the bells and whistles. Wow, Flutter. So Wow and Flutter, you have like tape plugins, right? And Wow and Flutter is kind of what you're getting there. But obviously, there's this very Mellotron, or that class of instrument, that design. There's like a Chamberlain from back in the day, different models, but the nature of the tape, how old the tape is, the tape length, any sort of rumble, is noise, and the tape head. So all this stuff, like is there rust on the tape heads, stuff like that. So it's really wonderful, right? If you want to like go geek out and dial it in, also. Tons of presets, and not only presets, but then within each preset, you can change this timbre transplant setting, right? So you can dial through on this target. So the presets are up here in the top left. You can scroll through those, but then dial in the target. Will kind of take each preset. So it's like whatever, 60 factory presets times. I think there's like 25, 30 targets, so yeah, plenty of sounds just by those very high level knobs. And then if you want to dial anything in, it's all in there. All right. So Mod Lobster and Uncanny Valley. I can close those down. All right. And so this is the whole note one I have, and I'm kind of thinking, start out, the verse is going to be just this. And then kind of layer in. I'll do them one at a time. So I've got another Mod Lobster sound coming out here. And then is on half notes. Yeah, you can kind of hear it. Turn the click. It's pretty subtle because it's kind of a washy organ, but you can kind of hear it. Yeah, you can hear it. A little transient. And then let's see here. I wanted to show this. This is kind of the inspiration of Uncanny Valley. And so obviously there was the original physical instrument, like the Beatles played on Strawberry Fields, stuff like that. And then this company named GForce, emulated this in a virtual instrument. It's called the M-Tron Pro. The M-Tron Pro 4 by GForce, and they collected, I think, like 90% of the Mellotrons in the world. They got all these musicians. There's a huge number of samples and instruments, and it's just lovely and wonderful. I have the UI up here. I think I demoed the sound field enough. Panorama. I guess the other thing was that I noticed I brought this up because I was looking at the mod Lobster and now the Mellotron and wanting to make sure that I had some width, which I did, so therefore I didn't have to add that panorama float flanger device. But I wanted to kind of, I guess I could try to trust my ears on that, but obviously I thought it was in the center and it wasn't, so so the visual helped. So let's see here. Let's see if I can isolate this. Yeah, this is this twang guitar, wide and slow, and yeah, just tons of instruments here. This is obviously very subtle. I really, this can go in the mix easily. It'll probably, kind of get washed out, but it's fine. But I really wanted to show it off, so I've had this instrument, this M-Tron Pro from GForce, this plugin for years, and it is, I have certain ones that are go-tos, go-to for banjo, go-to for acoustic guitar, go-to for electric guitar, go-to for electric bass, go-to for acoustic bass, all these things, go-to for mandolin. And this one, go-to for pad, basically, it can do more than that. It has it has horns, all sorts of sounds. Really easy to use. Drop it in there, even just hit random on the sounds a few times. And then kind of similar to Mod Lobster, kind of grouped, right? So you can have like basic, wide, slow, dynamic, stuff like that. So it'll be the same sound. You can kind of dial it in for what you need. Yeah, so this is really heavily used. Almost every track, I'd say. Probably 80% if I'm making a song, I would use something from M-Tron because it's fast. I know the interface, and I know I can find sounds that I can use. And there's so many sounds, right? And it just has this nice, antiquated, old school texture to it. It just works. It works with very crisp acoustic guitar, stuff like that. Putting it on top of this pad is magic. So the inspiration was for my plugin, Uncanny Valley, is I love this sound, and I have tons of sounds in here, but as I'm thinking, I'm like, oh man, I have other virtual instruments that I like. I have my voice, especially. I have these other sound sources. So I have physical instruments, I have other, virtual instruments aside from this. I have my own playing, my own, live instruments, all these sound sources. I really want, this is a virtual instrument, so it can't affect, existing sound. It generally takes MIDI in, produces audio with the effect on it. So what I wanted with Uncanny Valley was any sound, right? Any clean sound, send it through Uncanny Valley, and not just get a tape effect, but get a very true to real life Mellotron effect. And so I would say thanks to GForce for really introducing me to the Mellotron. They have at least 2 videos, I know, an hour-long videos of their collections of Mellotrons, the history of Mellotrons. They have all their artists recording these samples in different ways. So really, really great stuff. All right. So, I think I'm set here on the Mellotron. I also have, it's basically layered with the same part. I have this third mod Lobster. And okay, so this is just the pads. And I think, we can kind of build, and this is pretty subtle. This is supposed to sit underneath all the other instruments that are coming in, the vocals. So basically, I'm pretty happy that that's not too busy. It's got 4 instruments layered. 3 rhythms, but the rhythms are extremely simple. Whole note, half, and quarter. Yeah, I think that really works. I'm gonna drop them in, verse, just 1 on the verse, 2 on kind of a pre-chorus, and then 3 on the chorus. Which will probably be subtle, maybe it won't be noticeable, but maybe kind of a cumulative effect if I do other things. I obviously have 2 basses on the chorus, stuff like that. Should get, to some level of a build up, it doesn't just feel like a flat throughout. Kind of keeps your attention, little dynamics. You come out of the chorus, get slower, quieter, slower, quieter. So yeah, I think, whoops. I've got you caught up on my work here so far. We're at 9:15. I don't usually talk this much, but I think we're cruising along. I think, over time, the main thing with me is that at any given moment in making a song, right, just a lot of times, what I'm trying to do is not good, right? It's like, oh my God, this is gonna fall apart. Especially with arrangement, which I am dodging a little bit in this video. But, yeah, I think for time, it's just kind of gaining some confidence of like, okay, I'm not doing a bunch of work that I have to throw away. I am setting a base ahead of time that I'm going to be able to use. And kind of use in 2 ways, right? One thing is to use, like when I'm playing acoustic guitar, I have to click. It's kind of like, okay, I need a click, but I don't have this preferences. And so why not get, full drums and something that's useful, right? And so I don't have a lot of work at this point. I'm like, oh, I gotta go back and fix my pick. Oh, I gotta go back and fix my bass. I gotta go back and fix my pad. Which, I've even done it where I fix small things, little things that stand out. I'm like, oh, I forgot that sidechain. That's why we'll go back immediately and do those little fixes. And as things, merge together, it will reveal problems. But I try not to have, I was a software engineer, so it's called technical debt, right? So try not to have technical debt. Try to be kind of lockstep, right? Like my best guess, my best ability at this point, and it's like, okay, let's not get a whole bunch in. Let's each step, drums, bass, pad, kind of wrap it up behind ourselves as we progress making the song. So you can tell, it's like suddenly it's like, okay, I can kind of tell what this song's gonna be, right? All right, I'll be back. Okay, I've recorded acoustic guitar and electric guitar, and we'll go through that. So first, here's so basically acoustic guitar recording, SM57 mic, 12th fret, try to keep it close, obviously out of the way of my hands. Try to stay still, don't go closer or further away, left and right. Try to hit, first of all, practice guitar. When I practice, I'm kind of at the edge of my ability and trying to expand things. But here, I'm trying to make a song, so trying to get something that's usable in a reasonable amount of time, right? I've got these 12-bar loops. Try to get it where I know I have kind of locked in usable, really 2 tracks of each section on both acoustic and electric. I'll show you here. I've kind of doubled them up. And so one thing I had with acoustic that I thought of just from like performance was that I want kind of verse, pre-chorus, chorus using the same chord progression. So I want some build up here. So the contribution with electric guitars or the acoustic guitar was just to play it differently. At first, verse, let's say, just chicken picking being hold the pick normally, and then use one finger, middle finger. So hit nice solid bass notes with the pick, and then add a little color, kind of, a feel of color, finger style, but it's not really precise. Just playing chords, but gives it a little more something going on. And so the first verse I kind of chicken picked slowly. And so this is a chord progression, a key that I'm very used to. It feels very natural. And you can see, like, if we go through the different parts, let's see, yeah. So 5 takes on the chorus, which I did last, and 6 takes. And then you can see here, 13 takes, right? So I grabbed my guitar, cold, just take time to kind of warm up, kind of figure out what the song is, just hearing I had the full backing track going on this time around. So the advantage of that is that it really feels like the song, you're placing it in the song. The disadvantage, and you can definitely cut it back, you can even cut it back to like just a click, right? Where it was too busy, you can't hear yourself playing, but it felt good, play along with it. So yeah, so slow chicken picking. And then here we go, and I just restricted myself to just strumming, just try to give it some different feel a little bit. So it's quite similar, but you can tell like the higher pitched strings, right? They're being kind of strummed with the pick. So it gives a little more texture, a little more wide open or airy. And then for the chorus, I basically double timed what I was playing before, or maybe before it was half time, and this is the right time. But we're at 84 BPM, so this is probably kind of double time. So here we go. So yeah, so I think that will give it a feel of building energy into the chorus, or at least it will contribute to it. I'll do some other stuff too. So for like I said, out of those takes, I had multiple takes, and I used different takes. Sometimes I can use the same take, and use this. Right here, time shift. I did it here. It's not super important. Maybe a no op for different takes, but if it's the exact same take, I want to put one back in time, right? Just not even enough. It's not an echo, not a slapback. 8 milliseconds, just to make sure they're not kind of canceling each other, or competing with each other, right? They're sounding thicker and not, hitting each other, confusing the sound. But on the primary track here, my thought process, the filter, right? So this is a high-pass filter, very standard technique, especially with something kind of in this mid-range, right? A guitar, especially baritone voice. I try to keep my bass low and then keep the guitar up higher. And then the soothe is taking out guitar squeaks. And then guitar focus is an EQ. Bitwig has multiple EQs, 3 that I'll kind of mention here. I'm using focus. The bass level to me is EQ plus, and that's the full featured, I believe, 8-band, gorgeous UI, real-time visualization. Anything you need is in there. Okay, so Bitwig EQ plus, and then another one I'll mention is Sculpt and Focus. much simpler UI, just a few knobs, but it's kind of curated, it's like for specific purposes, helps you kind of not become a perfectionist, tweak a knob, listen. And so I'll just mention those are kind of like more analog style, old school, based on old EQ systems before it got all fancy. So guitar focus, I pick it because it's kind of a go-to. I know it sounds good. It's like a preset, and it has this tube emulation, which is nice on the guitar, and it has the the EQ settings. Obviously, you can see in a little diagram, lifting up kind of the mid-high, giving it kind of that air to it. Like I said, I want to emphasize the higher end of the guitar, have it pierce through. So let's see here. And then let's go ahead and just solo. So you hear it's a different take, and I even kind of flubbed something, but it's fine for this song. Again, it's second take, and I'm strumming, not chicken picking. Here we go, another take from the primary, and it is kind of double time. And now, basically on this one, it's more clean. It's more similar to the primary track. The only thing it does is kind of chop off some high end to kind of let the primary guitar take care of the high end, introduce the character, it's just kind of sit in the back. These first two are slower, and it's kind of more washed out. It just didn't work on the third one because it needed to sound more crisp. It sounded it was too noisy. So how did I accomplish that wash? It's very similar. Like I said, I filtered out the high end on the secondary guitar across the board. I also have this crunch here. Crunch is by a guy. He's like in Romania or Bulgaria or something. And his company's name is Analog Obsession, and tons of plugins, all these gorgeous UIs, all emulating old analog gear, rack gear and stuff. And this one actually has 11 models that you can choose from of these basically preamp, kind of like, not console strips, but preamp strips, right? And so one thing you can get from a preamp is you can push it a little bit, and it has this, this breakup that's, not kind of found anywhere else. And these 11 models kind of break up differently. Yeah, it's a great plugin. And so it also has these filters. So I went ahead on the secondary and just popped them on because I kind of want the secondary to do less, right? Really kind of the effect would be that in the mix, you hear the primary guitar and it just kind of sounds better, right? It sounds kind of wider, bigger, more spacious kind of a thing. But then in a busy mix like this, you also have to watch out for that noise. So that's always the trade-off. And one thing against noise is filtering an EQ, right? You just chop it up where it's in a frequency band. So that's a little crunch on it that I just like. And then panorama float. So I didn't put any delay on the acoustic guitar. Panorama float again kind of puts it back wider, harder to kind of nail down in the space. If you're listening in headphones, this part, it would be harder to place basically. So let's play them both together here. So you hear, if you have headphones on the left, you can kind of spot a guitar. And certainly if you listen closely, especially without the rest of the mix, you can make out, when like bass notes hit, it's on the right-hand side. So here's let's call it the pre-chorus or the second part. Just give it like a little more oomph. and really, cover up some mistakes, right? Some of this, as I listen to, this is my, I play this a lot, so this is kind of second nature, and obviously I took a ton of takes, right? So, but some of this, I think it was the backup for the chorus, and I was like, oh, that's like a really clean take, right? Like I could basically like have that out front, just playing by itself, and it would stand on its own. So yeah, you kind of get this sloppy delay without actually having a delay on it. I think that's pretty much it for the acoustic guitar. I'll play the electric guitar first with the acoustic guitar along with it, because the electric guitar is just me noodling around with scales. So it doesn't really make as much sense without the acoustic guitar, but we'll go in and solo it, but just so you're not like, what the hell is this, kind of a thing, so. So if you listen to that in headphones or closely, you can hear now the lead, not lead, but the primary acoustic guitar is left, and the primary electric guitar is right, and then their secondaries are swapped. Also, the electric guitar is wider, basically. Yeah, I think it's actually sitting kind of like on top of, maybe a little more wide than the secondary acoustic, but kind of that idea of just kind of spacing things out stereo-wise. And so, yeah, I was noodling around again, kind of taking my guitar ability and thinking like, I got to get something right that will fly. So I'd say, it would be better to have a better guitarist. That makes it a lot easier. Mainly, like that guitar right there probably cannot stand on its own. I played both of them with the acoustic, and it sounds good, but probably would not just leave it out dry. Mainly, I think of like with writing a song, this is a little tricky, and I kind of knew it, but I wanted to get this down, knew it would work. Now I'm going to put vocals on top. I haven't written lyrics. I got to put vocals on top of this, and this is just very drifty noodling. And so the two kind of artists I thought of, I was like, okay, I need some confidence, right? Like, has this been done before? Is there prior art? And the two that came to mind are two of my favorites, Kurt Weill, who's a phenomenal guitarist, and a lot of his songs, kind of gets back in the pocket. It's just this groove. It's very, this mood setting. It's kind of like he could be reading his grocery list and it doesn't matter, right? And it's just got this, I can't imagine how many guitar parts there are in a 4 or 5 minute Kurt Weill song. Maybe it's just all isolated. It's hard to hear repetition, right? He's just playing like so many parts. And the other one is Big Head Todd, and I feel like kind of similar, where it's like this really melodic, I guess it's like melodic rock, right? These sweet, kind of sweeping, but full sound, which Kurt Weill, I don't know who he tours with, but Big Head Todd is a 3-piece, right? There's 2 pieces like White Stripes and Black Keys, when they make incredible sound, but they sound, raw. They sound fantastic, but raw. Somehow, Big Head Todd, I swear, and I'm sure on studio he's probably maybe, doing more parts, but when they tour, there's 3 of them, right? A bass, a drummer, and him. And it's just kind of an incredible, very full, sound with just 3 people. Anyways, so that's I can be like, okay, I think I can write a song with lyrics on top of it, because right now I'm like, this is a pretty good instrumental, but I'm not sure. It's not really like a pop structure, as far as like a real rhythm or some sort of riff, some sort of repeated melody. Let's see here. All right, and the second part. So recording electric guitar, thankfully you don't have to stand so still. So, but yeah, I have an amp, pedal board going into it. SM57 on the amp, just nice and tight right on the speaker. And pedal board layout, mainly what I was going for there, kind of that, that tone, kind of push it up into a little bit of crunchiness. And so I have, a few pedals in a row, right? I have kind of like a console pedal that can either be a clean boost or it will break up, and then an overdrive, and then a distortion. So that was really something where it played well here, where in the verse part, it is just that console pedal, and then the next, add in the overdrive, the next, the chorus has distortion. So here we go. Let's listen to that. So one thing is, right, this is all this lead guitar basically, and it's melodic drifting lead guitar without repetition. And so how I'm going to sing over that, there'll be parts where it's instrumental break and let it ride, right? I can imagine the song kind of coming in, lyrics, a little break, lyrics, back to the chorus, bam, bam, and then let it ride out, let it just kind of drift out. Maybe play all three parts, and on the quieter part, but have a big chunk at the end that's just the instruments. Also, I noticed I actually listened to Kurt Weill and Big Head Todd the Monster, just kind of remind myself, and I was like, oh, that's right. Sometimes when you're singing, you can just say stuff like, da, 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 or hum, 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 or, it doesn't have to be words, right? Which kind of goes well with this, right? You kind of just add the texture, that thing of the human voice without trying to, it's tough for somebody to hear with this lead guitar going on and hear and interpret words. So, let your listener relax and just hear you say da, 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 or whatever. So, but yeah, one main technique, and I think I showed it earlier with the bass ducking under the kick drum, and so that like a dynamics, really compression type thing with sidechain on. So when the vocals come up, push down the guitar. Also, it's kind of like the goal. The vocals have a higher level, but you want them sitting down where they're clear, and that is, I would say, the two main techniques I can think of. Well, put the vocal dead center, raise its level, put compression on top of compression, get a nice clean vocal take, good mic, no noise, because compression will make the quieter sounds jump up, so you don't want the quieter sounds to be things you don't want to jump up, and give that ducking, where the side chain compression on the things that are competing with the same frequency. And so let's see here. Let's look at the chains here. Pretty much looking at it, I have a compressor on here to bring it forward a little bit. On the background one, right, I did use delay, which I think is a little more appropriate here because it's just single notes, right? Single note melody. We can put delay on chords, but and so I have this thing, preset that I've saved called Abbey Road. It's kind of a classic trick whenever you apply time-based effects, basically reverb or delay. You put it in the mid band. This is a save preset of the Bitwig multi three band effects. So it's just a kind of a container with this frequency band. It's configurable, and this you can see at the bottom here, 600 hertz to 10 kilohertz is the Abbey Road. The famous studio. Kind of this technique came from there, and that's the band that you apply either reverb or delay to, because it sounds better, right? So basically you don't want the low. I guess the high is not good either, but the kind of the mud, right? You don't want to be adding to, right, with that. And so what I've put on here is sales time, right? Jalopy.music. Come visit our website, buy our plugins. This is the Manifold set of plugins. This is a delay pedal. The Manifold set of plugins has 100 pedals as VST plugins, plus a pedal board. The pedal board is wide open, so it integrates tightly with ours, but you can put any VST in there, and you can put a chain, with our pedal plugins and your favorite audio effect plugins and build a chain out. And yeah, it's pretty sweet deal. Stop on by. And so we just have this delay here. Let's see if we take it out. You can hear ding, ding, ding. And so, yeah, it's pretty good on that backing track there. Let's see, did I do anything different on the center one? Okay. Oh yeah, I just put a reverb on here, so a different pedal. And it's a plate reverb. So there it is without it. You can hear this is not terrific guitar, right? There's definitely some spots where I just fumbled something, but I didn't comp anything. I just kind of took a couple of takes of these 12 bars that were good enough. This is the secondary in the background, so it's gonna do all right, right? But no reverb here. Whoops, let's see here. Come on, baby. Oh, interesting. Why is it starting at the beginning? This is so weird. Oh, you know what? It must be catching that loop or something. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. We got the reverb on. Oh, we got the reverb off. So you can tell such a huge... There we go. Yeah, you've definitely clear. So yeah, get it back, reverb, put it back. All right. And then let's see here. The chorus now. Let's see. Oh yeah, wah. Okay, so a couple different wahs. Got that one there. And then here. Again, one of my plugins. Both adding a little wah there. Let's see. Whoops. Okay, let's see. You can tell just in the context of the acoustic guitar, right? The electric guitar sounds a lot better just having that framing, right? Otherwise, it's like. So what else happened here? Well, let's listen to the whole mix. Why not? Let's see here. I did spend time mixing, kind of a pre-mix, kind of instrumental mix, certainly not going for perfection. But basically, a lot of it's like, I don't want to forget, if I think something on the top of my head, like, oh, I need to, like I remember, same old trick here with the mod Lobster here, the Oregon. You can see right here, dynamics, sidechained to the electric guitar. They were just kind of hitting the similar space, and it was kind of washing it out. So I do feel like when I listen to this mix, a nice thing is the electric guitar, and I know it's not perfect underneath, but that primary electric guitar, I hear that line. I know what that melody line is. It's clear. It's kind of like all the best parts, right? Because it's sitting in context and playing off the rest of the, kind of this harmony and just context of the key and scale and everything, and the chord that's playing. Let's see. I definitely at some point, see kick focus, kick compression tool. Basically, trying to listening to the mix, I'm like trying to just listen, think about each instrument, remember all the instruments that I've put in, and be like, okay, kick. Do I hear the kick? And then, kind of having an idea. How do I want the kick to sit in the mix? So do I hear it at all? Because some things, I think it's at one point I was like, wait a second, there's organ. Where's the organ? It was completely gone. And so the kick, I want it to be really, nice. It doesn't have to be super loud, but if I'm sitting here and not trying too hard, I want to hear it hit, right? And so EQ, compression, level, right? Kind of the tools of the trade. Certainly keep it in the center. But yeah, I pretty much went through that. I can't really think of anything else other than time and listening, right? And just, I think a mixture of the tweaks that I've already mentioned. I can't think of anything I did that is a technique that's completely different from what I've mentioned. So